Today we're talking about initial product or business ideas and the sniff test. Some of you may be wondering what I mean by the sniff test. Well, have you ever grabbed a shirt and sniffed it to see if it was clean enough to wear for the day? That initial examination was enough to tell you if it was worth putting it on and then deciding if it would work. Well, the same thing works for business. You don't want it to stink. So you take a quick look at a business idea and you determine if it's viable. Can it bring enough business? Can it bring enough money to you to warrant further examination? It's a whole lot easier to spend 15 to 20 minutes or even a few days exploring the viability of a new idea rather than completing a full business plan and then finding out that it's not something that can continue. Maybe it's already been patented by someone else and you can't get into that field or something like that. So let's look at a few ideas and make the determination, does it pass? Ooh, I went a little crazy on removing the background. She should have a full hat. Right now she looks a little deformed and I apologize to her. Anyway, you decide that you want to host cooking classes for kids. As you're looking around in Twin Falls, you notice that that's a niche that isn't being met. So you want to earn $2,000 per month. You break it down and you decide that your cost for supplies is going to run you about $100 and per session, and insurance, location rental. So rounding it to 10 classes is going to run you about $3,000 per month, you decide. You ask friends, you ask at church, you ask at your babysitting club, anywhere and everywhere, and your market research indicates that, yeah, people are willing to pay about $40 per person for a class. Your maximum production point, so the maximum you can hope to bring in, is 7 people per class. That's how much room you have in the space that you're renting. And the most you can gross per class is $280 at $40 per person times 7. You figure you're doing this part-time, you can only hope to host 10 classes, so the maximum you can possibly bring in gross is $2,800. It's a far cry from the $5,000 you need to break even, so you decide, kids are going to still have to continue learning to cook at home. So how about this next one? You decide, okay, well, instead I'm going to run a lawn care business. Still want to earn $2,000 a month. I already own a nice mower, but I do want to add a little bit of money in per month so that I can save for a replacement mower down the road. My supplies are minimal, trash bags and things, so I do have some insurance in case I run over a prize rose bush or something. But altogether, I'm thinking about $500 per month. My maximum production point is, I don't want to work too hard, so I'm figuring 5 lawns per day. I can do about 100 lawns per month. At $30 per lawn, my gross income would be $3,000. I've actually exceeded where I want to be, so that would be a possibility to explore further. Let's try this next one. You love dogs and you've decided that you want to run a dog grooming business. Oh, I deformed him too when I took out the white. Wow, he just looks kind of bizarre. You want to earn $2,000 per month. Your cost for doggy grooming supplies, including shampoo and all that good stuff, and insurance in case you get soap in doggy's eyes, and any equipment that you need, runs about $1,000 per month. Your maximum production point, so how many dogs you can groom in a day, you figure is 6 because you take your time and you do a really good job. So about 120 dogs per month. You figure $20 per dog, your estimate gross income would be $2,400 per month. Well, in this case, it's kind of borderline. You're really not bringing in what you need in order to meet your expenses. But this is where you'd think you have to decide, is it worth exploring this option further to find out if there's something that can be adjusted? Can I do 7 dogs in a day and still do a good job? Or after talking and completing additional market research, I find out I can charge $30 per dog, and that would increase my gross income to $3,600 per month, so I would meet and it would pass that initial review. And at that point then, I want to put together my business plan so that I can make sure that I have taken into account all costs, that I have made sure that I have all of the legal requirements in place. I don't know if you have to have a specific license to be able to groom dogs, like you have to groom people. Those are 3 examples of random ideas. Where do ideas come from? Well, I think there are two types of entrepreneurs. One type of entrepreneur is a made entrepreneur. It may not be your primary goal in life to own your own business, but due to circumstances, it's where you find yourself. So you find an idea that you're passionate about, you grow it, and you to fruition, and you reap success, hopefully. The other type of entrepreneur is a born entrepreneur. And this type of person has a harder time because they get so many ideas running through on a daily basis that it's hard to pick one and grow with it, because the next idea is already in their mind. And wait a minute, this is the $1 million idea. No, this is the $1 million idea. And it can be very difficult to be able to choose one and follow it through in a business plan. So it's important for either type to be able to do that sniff test, to be able to make sure it's viable to be before going on. But for the entrepreneur that's born an entrepreneur, they need to take it a step further. If you can't stick with one idea all the way through a business plan and determine if it's viable, how are you going to be able to stick with that idea for the 3 to 5 years it's going to take to get it off the ground? And even if you do get bored and sell it, you still have to keep it that long to be able to bring it to a profitable business for selling. So if you can't make it 3 months, how are you going to make it 3 to 5 years focusing on a single idea? So as you're looking at ideas, and we're going to talk about that next, make sure that you pick something that holds your interest. So business idea brainstorming. Let's examine some areas that you might start exploring. There are all sorts of things that could relate to home entertainment systems. Just as an example, when you ask yourself what's next, okay, cell phones. What's coming next in cell phones? Maybe you could make cozy little covers. Oh, wait a minute, that's been done. But there has to be something else. This is where it's fun to get together in groups, and we've done this in class with free thinking brainstorming, and you just start building ideas off of each other, and you tend to get some really cool ideas going. In class, we came up with one that was, why aren't there multicolored tires? Why can't you buy red tires or green tires or neon pink tires? Well, that was worth exploring further, and it ends up that there's some chemicals that you add into tires to make them last longer, and those chemicals turn them black. It's a starting point, and there's no such thing as a bad idea, but we chose in class home entertainment systems because that's a generic item. It's fun to go through these different exercises and see what kinds of things you can bring to mind through creativity. Okay, with home entertainment systems. Wireless, what can you do with wireless? What can you do to cover a television? on a home decorating show, I saw that someone had used balsa wood to create a painting that rolled back that covered a big ugly wall-hung television. And I thought, how very cool is that? Because when they had that closed, it was really pretty. Much prettier than that big old chunk of black emptiness. Do something about what bugs you. Colin Barcelow didn't like how much textbooks cost, so he started bookrenter.com. What is it that bothers you? Look for new niches. What kinds of generic ideas are in place that you can add a specific twist to? What categories of products lack recent innovation? When was the last time somebody invented something that had to do with spaghetti? I wonder if you could color spaghetti. I know you can do green for spinach and things, but could you color it with food coloring and get... Anyway, your goal is to look at things differently. You don't always have to come up with something new. Sometimes you can just come up with something better. Walt Disney, on a vacation with his family in Europe, looked at a run-down amusement park and knew he could do something bigger and better. And he was right. Took a while for him to gain enough investment to be able to start, but he did succeed. Talk to people. It's not just what bugs you, what bugs them. What do they wish they could find? I know it bothers me that there's no big and tall store in Twin Falls. And then another fun exercise is mix and match. So you're going to walk down the aisle in a toy store or a hardware store or drugstore, and you're going to grab two random items, and then you're going to see if you could put them together. Okay, pretty much most of the time it's going to be just a silly, useless item and a horrible result. But every once in a while you might strike gold. And then finally, and most importantly, keep a list of ideas and opportunities that you think of. Sometimes the world isn't ready for a product that you think up, or you might find yourself springboarding from a product on your list to an entirely new idea. So as you start working on the business that you are wanting to create, whether it is a tangible good or an intangible service, think creatively and how you are going to be able to differentiate yourself by creating something that is unique.